and welcome to Strategic Targeting. Now, this is the podcast where we take a look at business strategy, but from a new angle with some new people. Now, every executive knows that when they're setting strategy, they have to make some assumptions about their market and about how their product will be, their competition, and even about the political system that they're operating within. Now, to talk to us about that today, we've got Michael Graber. Now, he's a master communicator. I've known him for years. He started multiple companies. He's helped a lot of big companies with their marketing and with their positioning and with everything about how they relate to the people they want to serve. Today, he's going to talk to us about the emerging model of capitalism. We'll talk to him about it right after this. Michael, thanks for being here. Man, it's been too long since we visited.
It certainly has. I'm so happy to be with you. It's good to see your face.
Now, this idea, when you hit me with this, it really kind of set me back a minute because I didn't know exactly what you meant. Tell us what you're talking about with this emerging model of capitalism.
So thank you, Rich. We like to call it the model that we're moving toward a less industrial era model and one towards human to human. One that is good for our species and other species to thrive on the planet and allows everybody to grow and also be very healthy and thriving. So we call it the human to human movement, and you get there through purposeful transformation. I'll stop there for a second and I'll go.
Oh, I like that. But it's making me think of something I heard about you before. I don't know if I heard this online or where I heard it, but they described you as sort of a corporate shaman. Or a shaman.
Right.
And the way you said that made me think of that and remember that. So it seems obvious why we would want to think like that.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't. We get busy. Why do you think it's important that we kind of bring this back to the focus now?
That's a great question. So corporate shamanism, let's talk about it. It sounds a little woo-woo, but it's very pragmatic. So if you look at the root word corporation, it's corpus, which means body. And that's what the shamans would do. And they would bring awareness to the body. And through that awareness, they would light up parts that were dormant or sick. And they would call the soul or spirit back. And so what we're talking about is a renewal. And a renewal of these organizations and a renewal of our society through these organizations. So what we do is we help these leaders in these companies articulate a purpose as their North Star. And then after that articulation, we work with them and then their teams to change their structure to pay off that purpose and also their strategy to pay that off. And then it starts rippling out. Everywhere they're creative, they move from profit-only shareholder capitalism into stakeholder capitalism, where all their stakeholders have a voice. And that includes the employees where they work. Therefore, they're able to hold on to their best and most talented, the brightest. The communities where they do business are very happy to have them. Their whole ecosystem of suppliers and vendors and strategic partners want to work with companies like this. And then also, if their purpose is something that has a social good or an environmental good, they start keeping 2 or 3 sets of books. And I can give you lots of examples. We've recently helped a plastic company whose goal is to be out of plastics in 10 years, which is very exciting. And we have the whole roadmap getting there. But one that's famous in one of these types of companies is Ben & Jerry's. And I know they can be a little bit polarizing for some people, but when Ben & Jerry's works with a supplier, their supplier has to have a good quality product at a good quality price that meets all their standards. And to us, that's just table stakes. But they also have to do a social good. So all of the cookies and cookie dough and brownies that go in the brownie batter come from Grayston Bakeries in Long Island. And Grayston Bakeries does not consider itself a bake shop, but rather they're a turnaround facility, a life-changing facility for people who've recently been decarcerated, felons, or recovering drug addicts. And these are people who could not get normal jobs anywhere given their lack of a resume and all the marks against them. But they make sure that these people show up. They give them life skills classes. They give them credit restoration classes. They bring in psychologists and other, and the lives that they're able to turn around at the level of impact at about $200 million a year from the Ben and Jerry's account alone is so significant. So you take that one example of one supplier and you multiply it across all of the companies that service Ben and Jerry's, and you talk about a wake of social good that builds up value. Now, while I'm on that vignette, I'm also going to add that when Unilever bought Ben and Jerry's, they saw that this company was outperforming most of their profit-only companies in terms of how galvanized their culture was, how much everybody liked the work, how much everybody was motivated to do something good in the world. And they saw that they were getting just a higher performance. So that sort of cracked the code after we started studying that and applying it to some clients in the small and mid-market, in that if you want to outperform your competition, you want to hold on to your best talent, and then you also want to make what is typically 8x to 13x the return of your profit-only competitors, you can move to this model.
Wow, Michael, I love that. But I can see how in the hands of someone that doesn't have your experience, that isn't a strategist like you, that could be dangerous to try to become something that most companies haven't really thought of themselves as before. What are the risks of not moving forward and doing this?
Yeah, the risk of not doing this are losing your best people, going out of business, constantly fighting the price war with your competitors. And so if you want to keep playing the same game, you can endure those risks.
Yeah, I don't think many companies want to do that, especially in this environment. But it's a little scary what you're talking about. Talk to us about the upside. What are the opportunities that companies are going to gain if they really kind of lean into this?
Thank you. Great question. So I'm going to start by quoting Google's Project Aristotle, and that's the study of high-performance teams. So Google studied all their high-performance teams, and they decoded the factors that made them high-performance teams. That's the study from which we get the term psychological safety, right? The great buzzword. Psychological safety was the number one tenet, that trust in high-performance teams. But third was meaning through your work, and fourth was purpose through your organization. So if leaders feel like something's missing and they don't understand why their competitors are doing better, or they're hemorrhaging their top talent, it's because they're not providing all of these pieces that people as human beings, our species, need to be fed meaning and purpose through their work, through their organization. So I mentioned earlier the corporate shamanism, but literally they're calling their soul back. This is why we exist. This is our philosophy of value, and this is what we're doing, and this is how we're giving back. If they can't answer that long, I don't think they're going to be able to compete in the emerging economy.
Michael Graber, he's the founder of Epic Pivot, managing partner there too. Michael, this is fantastic. How can people get in touch with you and find out more about the work you do?
Thank you so much. So there's always epicpivot.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Michael Graber, Graber. I'd love to connect with people and talk about these things.